What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Skywalker still here of A to Z Sports Dallas, giving you my instant reaction to the Cowboys' 24th overall pick in the first round, and they take offensive tackle Tyler Smith, 6'5", 324 pounds, out of Tulsa. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. There were a lot more players on that board that I would have rather have had, but I'll be consistent with this. There were about 4 or 5 positions that I thought the Cowboys were going to have to hit in the first 4 rounds, so you couldn't really get them all. But offensive guard was one of those positions I wanted them to attack early because there was nobody to fill that left guard spot, and they didn't have the depth to make me feel comfortable. So they went out and they got a nasty left guard in Tyler Smith. Now, with that said, there comes some pros and some cons with the cat. I'll tell you this. Big boy when it comes to the pros. Explosive. He's a finisher. He's nasty. He's powerful. I said on a draft show with our guy Foots that he will instantly be probably your most talented left guard you've had since Ron Leary, and most definitely your most nastiest left guard you would have had since Ron Leary. With all that good that comes, there is the cons, right? He's undisciplined. He's a bit wild with his hands, and then he's also wild with his control behind it. But if we're really being honest with ourselves, those are things that I think can be coached up if you got good coaching. Now, that is something that you could debate. You can say, well, hey, Joe Philbin's not a good offensive line coach. Or you can say, hey, Joe Philbin helped develop a Terrence Steele. That's up for debate. Nonetheless, they got their left guard, who, if you listen to the presser, they said they had this man rated higher than Zion Johnson, right? And rated higher than Kenyon Green. Could it be smoke? Who knows? I find that hard to believe. But maybe what they looked at was the upside, right? Maybe they looked at the positives more than the negatives. And when you just focus on what he does very well, or what he is in the upside, the ceiling per se, he's got a lot of it. I mean, he's an explosive player, raw player, but a lot of raw talent. With that said, the problem that I had with the pick was that there were just so many other players on the board that me personally would have rather have had, but they went ahead and elected to go with need, right? Offensive guard was the need. There was no doubt about it, and they viewed that as the number one need. And if it is true that they had him higher than Zion Johnson and Kenyon Green, then I completely understand the pick. Regardless, honestly, I understand the pick because you need an offensive guard on this team. And if you go look at the way the rest of the draft fell, and obviously before it, all those top guards were kind of falling down. You would have got to day 2, and maybe you could have got a guy that was better than Tyler Smith for sure, but who knows, by the time you got the pick 56, you may have been wiped out because it started to get a little funny in that first round. So with all that said, Sky, how do you feel about the pick? I'm in the middle with it. It's not really the player that I have an issue with. I think there is potential with Tyler Smith. I think he could round into form if he takes on coaching, right? If he can get coached up, if he can get cleaned up, I think he's got some talent to him. Sky, what about the other side? Yeah, I would have rather had a Devin Lloyd. Yeah, I would have rather had a N'Kobe Dean. Yeah, Jermaine Johnson was nice. Yeah, you got George Karlaftis there. Hell, it'd have been nice to get a Tyler Linderbaum, right? There were other players on that board that would have made me happy in that sense. But with that said, I'm not out on this young man. I think that he has some potential, but you got to clean it up. You cannot have the penalties, and the penalties comes from being wild with his hands, right, and being undisciplined. Sometimes he wins with his hands being wild, but a lot of times you're going to get flagged. And he was one of the most flagged offensive players in the college football world last year. You go from one flag happy guy, Connor Williams, to another, you're going to need coaching to really fine tune this guy. Because right behind Connor Williams, we forget, Tyler Biadasz was flag happy. Tyler Biadasz is likely going to be your center now. So you got a flag happy center next to a flag happy left guard. You got to clean them up. But if you can clean them up, you've got a real nasty tandem with Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith, right? You got the Smith brothers on the left. How much will Tyron Smith play? That's to be seen. I would also love to know if Tyler Smith has some left tackle flex to the Cowboys. We understand that he played left tackle in college, but the value can be added to this pick if they view him in that manner. If not, okay, he'll just be a left guard. But if they do view him as a guy that can transition to left tackle, then the value goes higher than it would if you took a guy like a Jamari Salyer or if you took a guy like Kennard, who you're going to slide in at guard and just be a guard. So that's my instant reaction to the pick. I'm neither up or down on it. It's kind of a disappointment in the sense of I loved other players on the board, but I also understand the pick, right? I understand the positional need of the pick. You could argue so many different ways with this one, but this is a quintessential wait and see for me because of who else was there. But I get it, man. They needed a guard, and they got a nasty one. Let's focus on the positives here as much as we can. All right, Cowboys Nation, that's my time. Make sure y'all tune in to all things A to Z Sports Dallas here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Be out.